Welcome to the June 13th, 2017 Planning and Zoning meeting tonight. We'll call the meeting to order at this point, and we ask everyone to speak into the microphone and please turn down your phones or put them on vibrate. Not like I did last time.
That's a good idea.
And please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, and after that, a moment of silence for all the men and women in uniform around the world. Silence. Amen. I thank you. Okay, Kathy, you want to give us the roll call?
Chairman McKee?
Here.
Vice Chairman Keithler is absent excused. Member West?
Here.
Member Sills?
Here.
Member Evans?
Here.
Member Richmond?
Here.
Member Wunderlich?
Here.
Member Henderson is absent unexcused. Member Fromer?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Thank you. Before we move on, I'd like to read a letter from Don Marcotte, who has resigned from the board. He says, "Dear Chairman and fellow members of the Planning and Zoning, I regret to inform you that I am resigning from the Planning and Zoning Commission. I have much enjoyed serving with all of you over the past 4 to 5 years, learning about the process of planning and zoning as our great city of Ocoee has grown. Unfortunately, I've to miss several meetings lately and feel that I have not served very well as a member over the past few months. I feel that I should offer my seat to someone who could better serve as a member at this time. Hope to reapply and join you again sometime in the future. Thanks again to all of you." Don Marcotte. That's the bad news. The good news is we have a new member, Eric Fromer. Did I say that right? Fromer?
Yes, you did. Thank you.
Welcome to the board. If you'd like to take a few moments to kind of tell us a little bit about yourself.
Briefly, my name's Eric Fromer. I'm an attorney, in-house counsel. I have worked in the area of construction for Hayes and Caraballo, which is a kind of boutique construction law firm, and then the last couple of years doing eminent domain.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, we have a consent agenda before us. Let's see what's on that. It's basically the minutes of the Planning and Zoning meeting of May 9th, 2017. I'd like to ask for a motion.
Motion to accept.
Is there a second? Okay. Is there anything to discuss on that May 9th meeting minutes? Any questions, corrections, or hearing none? Okay, we'll call the question. All those in favor of accepting those minutes, say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none? Kathy, they're all set. All right. We got that. Okay, we got the old business, the planning and zoning meeting time change. We talked about this last month, and it has to go through a process with involving the commission. Mr. Rumer, do you have any information on that, or?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
As you recall, this Planning and Zoning Commission made a vote to pass to change the Planning and Zoning meeting from a 7 o'clock to a 6:30 p.m. start time, and myself and the clerk's office were working that through, and we received word back that the Mayor and City Commission would like a formal request from a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission at the next available City Commission meeting.
Is this going to be in the form of a letter communication, or do we do a vote on it?
You did the vote, so you can just
Okay.
send a representative to agree to go to the City Commission
Oh,
and
we
formally
did vote.
ask on behalf of the P&Z to change the time.
I
Okay.
think our chairman should attend and request that.
All right. That can be arranged, I think. When does that have to be done? When, next meeting?
Well, it's not going to move forward until that request
Oh.
is made. There's a June 20th meeting next week. There is the first meeting in July, is July 4th, which is canceled, and the following commission meeting would be July the 18th.
Go next week, can't you?
Yeah, I think I could probably make it the 20th, right?
20th, yeah.
Is that
And
it?
that time is 6:15.
Yeah, that's right. They moved that, too.
They moved that.
Okay. Commission, 6:15. I'll make the formal request to move our starting time to 6:30. Moving on to the next item, we have the Health Central Hospital Skilled Nursing Facility.
Yes.
That's LS 2017-008, I believe.
All right, for the
Mr. Rumor,
record,
would you-
Mike Rumor, City Planner.
Thank you.
This is a preliminary final site plan for Health Central. It is a skilled nursing facility. The site is located on the campus of Health Central. It's a part of a larger parcel. The area will do a better job, but it's north of Old Winter Garden Road, near the intersection of Hempel and Old Winter Garden Road. The site is identified here in white. You have a drive, which I believe our addressing guy says is going to be addressed as Hempel, coming up to another internal drive leading to the site of the proposed skilled nursing. The Health Central has gone through a couple other projects recently. In this update, this aerial is not updated with the best information, but there's a parking lot that was put in by Health Central over here with a building pad, where you have a similar building up on the road as you do on the other side of Blackwood. They've done an ER expansion, and presently they are breaking ground on a cancer center, the Health Central / UF Shands Cancer Center, which is presently being operated out of some facilities across the road, moving it all on campus. This will be the cancer center site. They'll do the staging site on this piece. And then while this is under construction, this is all finished up, they will begin right away on a skilled nursing facility. And that is the item before you tonight.
All right.
The parcel's rather large. I've got it broken up in pieces, but essentially what we have on this parcel is a facility. The topography really drops about 15 feet. So, is it 15 feet?
Yeah, it's pretty severe.
Somewhere, but back here is really low. So there's actually a ground floor. There's going to be a hill that goes down. So this part's really low. You will not see, the building is a 4-story building, but you will not see all 4 stories. So you have the building area, you have access, behind the house access for the facility. You have driveway access, parking. This is a covered drop-off area. You have the 2 access points here, a third one at this location. This is a paved road. There's open swales on both sides of the road, and I'll come back to that later. The facility consists of a ground floor, memory care, 40 skilled nursing residential beds, and building support services. They are moving some of the facility, some of the beds from a Winter Garden location to Ocoee. That's where these beds are coming from.
Are they closing the Winter Garden facility?
No, they'll still have beds
Okay.
there. They're just moving
All
some
right.
of those beds. The next floor would be, it is a hospice care, 10 skilled nursing residents, public and administration area, outpatient therapy. The third floor, or second, if you go by how the plan shows, is a post-acute rehab care, 20 skilled nursing beds, and then the final floor has the same thing. And I believe in your packet you do have a elevation showing the building.
Yeah, it's quite a rendition.
Very
Yeah.
nice. They provided a number of different elevations for
We
our
have
viewing pleasure.
we have the drone views on the end.
So, yes. The property is in our CRA redevelopment area. This is known as Target Area 3. Now, under the CRA zoning overlays we placed, we have Target Area 1, which is McGuire and 50, that southeast corner. That at the time of the development of the standards, we had a lot of input. It has a lot of design and development standards. Target Area 2, where City Center West Orange is going, has design and development standards. Target Area 3, we just targeted as an area we didn't require any design or development standards. We just gave the hospital a vision, a master plan, which they, after that point, went out and got a consultant that came up with a very similar plan. This project, the projects I showed you, all fit in that master campus plan that they have. Oops, misplaced my staff report here. So the next step from this process, because this is combined, is they go to construction, which is a really good thing. So this will not come back in a final as a consent agenda. This is a dual process. They've combined them. The site of this facility sits on 3.67 acres. I'll zoom it in for you. They are providing stormwater retention in several locations. They're going to be modifying a couple of existing ponds. And a nice thing they're going to be doing is running utilities along the north side of the road and closing this ditch on the north side of this internal access drive, as well as a portion of the ditch on this road. So it'll start to create more of an urban feel to the project. The total construction is 90,213 square foot facility on the campus. It'll be constructed in one phase, does not contain wetlands, and it fits within the overall master plan. Site work will include 57 new parking spaces with 4 handicap, plus there is the ability for internal capture of employees to park in a parking lot. I'll show it on the aerial. They'll be able to take a sidewalk and park in this parking lot as well. So you'll have employee parking and you'll have staff and visitors at this site. The skilled nursing and the ALF are low trip generators. We don't visit grandma every day.
Weekends.
Yeah. So the site is properly sited off the road, internal access, there's 2 main, as I showed before, access points to the site. There's a public safety aspect, and they can back of house and deliveries back here. The architect is here, an engineer. They'll do a much better job. I don't have the elevation on the slide, but you have the number of elevations in your packet, and I'm available. And of course, we recommend approval of this site.
One question about
Yes.
utilities. Is the adequate piping for
Yes.
potable water and for sanitary sewer?
Yes, we actually have public lines that run through the hospital property that we'll be connecting to. I believe these lines will remain private, but they are constructing them to an upgraded standard. But there is sufficient capacity, yes.
Okay, what about the intersection with Hempel and Old Winter Garden?
Right, yes.
What's, anything going to be happening there? As far
No,
as,
there's not. The Old Winter Garden Road is
will we need
wide
turning
and has
lanes?
turn lanes, and it's appropriately sized and in a condition. Once the master plan of the hospital really starts to develop out, Old Winter Garden Road actually has a lot of trips on it.
I know, that's
It is a
my
good,
point.
we've pointed Wawa, we're like, take a look at Old Winter Garden Road. If you can't find one on 50, Old Winter Garden Road has some trips. So
That's what I
there's
was
not a
asking about.
signal warranted at this time, but we'll be watching this.
Well, I was looking for a turning lane, especially right turn into that.
Right, yes.
I don't think there is one now.
Don't you have a signal there at Hempel now?
There's not a four-way
Yeah, I don't think it's four-way, not yet.
Oh, okay.
for all the lanes.
That was my questions, not because of the ALF's going to generate the traffic, because of the cancer center and all. I believe that's looking towards the future.
Yes.
Not ALF. I'm looking at because the hospital is actually
Growing and
growing
growing and
rapidly.
growing, yes.
So therefore, we need to plan ahead.
Oh, yes, we are.
Maybe we need to look at maybe a traffic study or see how it's been done in
Yes,
the past, so on and
as
so
part
forth.
of our CRA overlay, we looked at that traffic study. We did, we upgraded signals, and when we did Blackwood Avenue, we took into account trips there. For the cancer center, and the majority is, the trips are going to come off 50. This is people that are coming from all over to the site, and they will be, how should I say, Google mapped on the Colonial Drive access for the cancer center that's here. And the cancer center doesn't operate like a normal medical office building. It's not, pack them in, there's not an appointment every hour. People are in there getting treatment for hours, and it's a low use, a low trip generating type of use as well.
Okay. Any other questions by the board? Anything else you want to offer as information?
I'll let the experts
Oh,
do a
okay.
better job than I did on their
All right.
project.
Would the applicants like to come up to the podium, identify yourself, and tell us about your project? They seem reluctant. Yeah, please, right there where it says public.
Well, you did an excellent job in setting the stage.
Your
We-
name and address, please, and
Oh, I'm sorry.
association?
Excuse me. My name is Donovan Smith. I'm with KTH Architects, 827 North Thornton Avenue in Orlando. Just going to try to supplement what this gentleman has said. Maybe Nick can help me out here from time to time. As he pointed out, the site does drop. The site is also situated on the low side of the Health Central Hospital campus. So there are already in place dry storm water retention beds that we are expanding and modifying. We look at that as good news because what that does for the ground floor residents is gives them a wide open space rather than being tucked in. It is memory care. The rooms surround each of these two wings that you see on there. And each room, of course, is required to have at least a 20-foot vista space in front of their window. We have significantly
Yeah.
more. One of the things you see in the back, the circle, that is in fact a memory care garden. And the goal is to allow those residents to wander about not only their own environment, but outside 24/7. Because it will be secure. It'll be an approximate 8-foot-high barrier, if you will, that only has one locked gate opening for maintenance. When I say 8 foot high, it's actually, when you get to that point, it's 8 feet. Because of the way it drops, you actually can look over it. But what's beyond it are the dry stormwater retention basins, and beyond that, retention for the 408 connection. We very purposely connected and created a promenade, if you will, a boulevard in the future with Hempel. That sets the stage for many of the directions that the city is looking for with regard to the actual perimeter of the campus. And we, again, are looking forward to that because this facility is, probably the best way to describe it is, it's a 110-bed skilled nursing facility, but there are no nursing home beds. 10 beds hospice, 40 beds of memory care, and then 60 total beds of post-acute rehab, which could be any age from 18 to 98. And because of that, then there was also, it was mentioned that it's outpatient therapy. It's actually outpatient and inpatient therapy. It's a common destination. And part of the hope here is that there will be a connection, a fitness, wellness connection in the future further down Hempel. That's within walking distance that creates that further connection to the community, actually on an active health maintenance basis. Beyond that, it is, as was pointed out, a 4-story structure, so it will have some visibility from a distance. And again, on each floor, every resident room has a view. We use what's called a canted room, which basically, use some terms here, that often like in hotels, you'll see rooms that are back to back to back. These are all same hand. So we are able to cant them at a 1 in 4 angle so that when you're in bed, you're actually looking out the window, not at a wall with a TV. And every room is situated that way. Memory care is a little different because that's more of that's a slightly different environment. We do the canted room for the visitors for that quick turnaround, sort of a hospitality type environment. The main first floor has the 3 distinct areas, the therapy, the hospice, as well as the public areas. And those public areas, again, are very much like hospitality. There's a living room lobby, there's a dining area cafe, there's a meeting room, and we also have been able, because the ground floor with memory care needed to be slightly larger, we've created in the back a sort of L-shaped patio that you can go out onto. And hospice loves it because it gives them outside space, even though we were constrained more by the budget, where we wanted at first to look at spreading the building out a little bit. We ultimately came back to a more compact vertical structure, which unfortunately gave all the immediate outside space to memory care, which deserves it the most. So we had to look for ways to get outside for the post-acute, who are really there short-term, but certainly should have options to get outside. And so we've tried to develop that with Nick and GAI. So
Okay,
I think
thank you.
that pretty much describes it, unless there's
Thank you
any
for
other
that description.
questions.
Forgive me if I don't look forward to going there, I'm staying. It sounds great.
Well, if you have to rehabilitate, it'd be a great place to go and get out quickly. So,
It
thank
looks
you.
like a great addition to the city, I think, so, in my opinion. So.
Thank you very much.
Any questions of the applicant? Sure.
If I may.
Certainly.
It's been my understanding that memory care facilities are rather few and far between. Do you know how many there might be in the county or MSA?
It's actually growing a bit because it's not a state-regulated, well, it's state-regulated, but it's not a CON, Certificate of Need. So really, anyone who feels they've developed a business case to provide memory care can do it, as long as they go through the steps. Skilled nursing beds, on the other hand, do go through the state, the ACA review. In this case, they've gone through ACA review because the entire facility is considered skilled nursing, as opposed to the memory care can be categorized as assisted living. I can't answer your question about the numbers. I do know that Health Central looked at this and is simply moving 40 beds from Health Central Park to this facility, which helps them free up the fact that they have semi-private double occupancy rooms to go to private rooms back at Health Central Park in the
Thank you.
future.
All right, very good. Any other questions?
I do have one question, briefly.
Mr. Crum? Crummer.
I didn't notice any fencing or some sort of security around the property. Is there something on the
Around
perimeter?
the rest of the property, sorry,
Well, my concern is in case one of the patients absconds, one of the,
well, as you know, Health Central has a security force that does patrol the campus at all times. Any door coming out of memory care on the ground floor, and really any of these floors, is secured, and there are actually only 3 doors that come out of memory care. 2 of them are exits, and 1 of them is the free that goes into the circle. The 2 that are exits form a vestibule that are alarmed and have Wonder Guard on them, because they are never to be used unless there is an emergency. And so on the day-to-day basis, there really is no way for the patients to get beyond what we described, the exterior walls and that 8-foot fence.
That's your question?
thank you. Yes, it does.
Okay, thanks. Jim? No? Anyone else? All right, I think that's all. I appreciate it. Thanks for the
Thank you.
information. Okay, we'll bring the issue back to the board. I guess we have to have a public hearing on this item.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Looking for anyone who wants to speak If if you can fill out one of after you're done speaking, one of the information cards. I don't have any up here. There's some on the back table, if you can do that.
Can I do it after?
Yeah, you can do it afterward. State your name, address.
My name is Kathleen S. Manning Walter. I'm a nurse. I taught at ITT Tech as a nursing instructor. I taught at the associate degree level there. I've been through a lot. 2017 has been hell. But out of this, this wasn't why I came here first tonight. I came for something else, but I'll tell you this first. For what they want, your parking is going to be a terrible problem. Okay, I had surgery April 20, and I have been helping my neighbors and friends, and they've been my adopted parents at different places. I've become their healthcare surrogates. You're going to have problems with parking. You're going to have problems with the stoplights getting out. And so I don't know how much that has been looked at. I'm a nurse. I've worked at every single facility. I have worked either with my students or have worked at every single hospital in the area. So I know a lot about the ins and outs of that kind of stuff. So you really need to look, because there's tons of places around here that have the hospice. There's tons of places around here that have the rehab. And I'm not saying anything negative. I think this is wonderful, and I really think Health Central is an awesome facility, so don't take that wrong. I think I just had one of my adopted parents there, one of my former patients there. The problem is and they have an incredible sense. I love how respectful that they are, because they have ORMC's philosophy of, what can I do to help you? They're very respectful versus some of the other hospitals in the area who have a very different perspective. So I'm not saying anything negative
You're
there.
referring to the hospital.
I'm referring to the hospitals, yes. So I've had the experience of being there with my adopted mother and adopted father in this area. The problem is when these patients, what they do is when they get moved, they either come in from a VITAS hospice outside because they nearly killed them, because they didn't feed them, okay? Anytime you don't get fed, you lose potassium and magnesium, and then you lose sodium. You don't think right, you can't function. So then they get shifted from like a VITAS to the hospice, and then when they get shifted from the hospice, they get shifted to rehab, or to get them out of the hospital quicker for the insurance benefits, you get shifted into rehab. Or there's the cancer patients. You're going to have that parking lot is going to be full.
Okay, you're saying that has an impact on the parking.
Yes, and it's going to be an impact on everything, on the lights, having to have an exit, get out of there, and everything. My perspective is, from where I was coming from, is what I came to tell you about is I'm the nurse who got Hackney Prairie Road changed, okay, along with Judy, the photographer over there, that got the road straightened after 50 years because you guys voted in the school. Now that road was what I came to tell you about tonight. That road has become a really hazard back there. My house backs on Hackney Prairie, and it's on Prairie Lake Boulevard in Forest Oak subdivision. That is a racetrack out there. You hear cars. I can identify the cars going up and down the road. I can identify the motorcycles 24 hours a day because that road is straight. And all the police officers that I see out there are just coming out in the subdivision to give people tickets for running the stop sign or something like that. And probably I'm going to need to use my get-out-of-jail-free card because I crossed out of McGuire today with my back end of my van loaded. I knew I couldn't stop, and I had to take the light yellow because my van was so loaded with things that I'm probably going to have to use my get-out-of-jail-free card from the former mayor for that.
Okay, so your concerns are for the parking at the
The
hospital?
parking
And the separate issue is over on Sawmill?
no,
Hackney
it's on
Prairie?
Hackney Prairie. It's where the school is that you guys voted in for the school.
No, we
And-
didn't vote it in, but we'll take responsibility.
Let me ask,
Whatever.
let me ask a question. Have you been downtown to ORMC or
Yes,
at
sir.
the Florida Hospital?
Yes,
And then
sir.
you could say anything about this outfit?
The
The old Winter Garden Road has got, I don't know how many trips on it available, and you're gonna have a red light. If you've been downtown ORMC, you wouldn't have any problem with this at all.
I'm not having a problem. I'm just saying these are
Oh.
some things you need to look at.
They have. They've done traffic studies. They have to do that on every project that comes for us.
I know, but I'm just telling you that every single memory facility around here, and my patients have all been in this as a nurse,
Right?
okay? And the other thing that I wanted to really bring to your attention is there isn't enough done with my being recovered at home. How old do you think I am?
I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole.
Smart man.
We're old enough as men not to know that. to ask that
Okay.
question.
But what I'm saying is, what you're bringing is probably very, very vital and all that stuff. But our board doesn't consider things like that.
I know.
We can't expect, we don't have the authority to do that.
I know,
We're
but-
just, we're doing with the facility.
I know.
You know what I
But
mean?
I just want you to make sure that you look at those
That's
things
good.
carefully, because I know, because I have been with my patients, I've been at the hospital, I've been at Florida Hospital, I've been at ORMC. Wherever they've had to go, I've been, and parking has always been a big problem.
Right.
And these places, you're gonna have, it's gonna be so packed, you're gonna have problems with traffic and getting out of there, and you're gonna have problems with people selling drugs right outside.
Let's hope not, but
You're-
we
you're
appreciate
pretty-
you bringing these concerns to our attention. Some of those we can talk to.
The Hackney Prairie concern would be something more appropriate for the city commission. This is
I
the
know.
planning. and
Yeah,
zoning.
I know,
that
but I
and the
came
police
to this
department, yeah.
because I came to ask you to think about that because I've gone to the school. My
We're always
property,
always concerned about the traffic, and as I mentioned, the turning lanes and the traffic lights.
yes.
I've been living here long enough to know that we're always behind the curve on this thing.
Yes,
So.
so that's why I turned it around to tell you about that, and because my other concern is, you guys don't do enough about, and it's not just you guys, it's everybody in the whole United States. I have done such a steep learning curve this whole time about access to assistance, 211, 411, 811, It's-
I'm not following what
okay?
you're talking about, the telephone access or
The telephone access.
ADA access, or
Mhm. I didn't know that as a nurse, I would become a statistic, that I would become part of the domestic violence.
well, as I say, I appreciate your bringing those concerns to our attention. We're the planning and zoning. We do recommendations
I
to the
know.
commission.
But a couple of those things I just wanted to bring to your attention because I'm going to come to the meeting next Tuesday as well. But because I have been home all this time, I have met so many women right there in Forest Oak subdivision that are women of domestic violence. And they come to my house, and I'm the lady with the tree house out back that has no fence. And people pull in there. Police officers used to drive through my yard because they thought it was just a drive-through, a quick access to get through there. And I said, you're on my septic system. So I had to put up a half fence. So now, actually with the changes that have been made, my property goes all the way out to 2 foot off the road.
Well, there again, I think you need, as
I know.
Planner Rumor suggested, you bring that to the commission, and some of those issues you probably should bring to the police chief or one of his public relations
I've been
person.
doing all this kind of stuff, sir. That's what I've been doing.
That's all
and
we
I
can-
just-
I'm sorry, but that's all we can offer you
I
tonight.
know. I know. I
Those-
just
those
wanted
are
to
the
tell
people
you
you need
that,
to talk to.
that as a nurse, those are the things that I see that you're going to run into problems, and I hope that they look ahead and fix a lot of those things before they become problems.
Well, we'll try to head some of that stuff off. That's what we're here for. And we work through the staff who do a very good job in trying to help us out with that. So thank you again.
Thank
Be
you.
sure to fill out that little form for us.
Sure.
And put your issues on that form when you hand it in. Put your issues on that form when you hand it in. And give it to the clerk on the end here, please. Thank you. Mike, can you respond to any of that?
Well, just with
The
respect, there
traffic
has,
and parking concerns
yeah,
here.
the parking has, the hospital has provided new parking spaces. What's not there, that's not dedicated to a use. The cancer center, you designed that, right? You can, or the ER and the cancer? Okay, well, he designed the plans. He can tell you about the parking.
How many new spaces are in that western section that you're just talking about that they added?
The section over here.
Near the Blackwood, yeah.
Do you remember?
Yeah, in the overall sheet has all the parking criteria.
Because that's my concern as well, because
How
I've,
many-
Yeah,
we-
it's like
I've had the opportunity to frequent there and the
Oh,
parking lot is
16.
full.
In this lot here,
about
no place
6
to park.
places.
60 were constructed on this
I mean,
side. Yes.
I know it's a separate issue, but the
Yeah.
parking at the hospital is full. I mean, there's times of day we just can't find a place to park.
Well, they don't park out here. They want to park right.
No, but I'm saying it's an issue that's going to continue on. It just rolls over from one area to another.
Excuse me, can you please state your name and company for the record?
Sure. Nick Leva with GI Consultants. We're the engineer for the project. We're also the engineer for Orlando Health, all over where they're at.
Orlando.
The, I'm here to answer your questions, of course.
Yes, of course.
Most of all. And I just want to address the concern that was brought up about the parking, first of all.
Well, it's a concern of all of us, actually.
Yes.
As I say, I've used the hospital, and I know that lot fills up, and if you build a new parking lot with a new facility, it just rolls over into the next one, so it continues.
Okay,
I
so,
can tell you one of the reasons you don't have any parking there, because when they did the hospital, I was on the board there, they got about 3 to 4 times more handicap parking than they need. You go there, and it's full of parking, but you look, there'll be handicap, there'll be 15, 20 handicaps that are open.
right, well, and we actually do that.
Well, I'm sure that's done to a formula, so it has to be.
Okay, so what happens, we did, like Mike was talking about, the master plan and the overall campus that we're trying to accomplish. If you could look at the aerial site here, the west parking lot that was built at Blackwood, the northeast corner up here.
Oh, northeast corner. Oops, that's not it. Too far, Mike.
Yeah, that parking lot was actually done at the request of Orlando Health due to the increased ER persons
Yeah.
over there.
Yeah.
Not because we needed the parking, it's the proximity to the ER that was actually calling out for it. So they have plenty of parking on the south, but not next to the ER. So Orlando Health said, look, we need to accommodate our visitors closer to the ER, so let's add some more parking on the ER side. So that was done for that purpose, first and foremost, to be closer to the ER that was expanded over there. There is a higher rate of ADA in the hospital campus because there is a lot more trips by ADA folks attending. The parking lot in the center of the campus here is very large. We're actually overparked, over 100 spaces, actually. The reason for that is that we try to accommodate what shift changes. When the shift changes,
They overlap.
we overlap parking, and that's what we're trying to accommodate. So we accommodated that and still have some left over where nobody wants to park, which is far from the hospital, which is closer to our facility. So the goal is to have the staff mainly park at the Orlando Health. This is an enclosed, gated parking area. So that's for the employees only. And to accommodate mostly that shift change with that extra parking that we have that is barely used on that east side of the existing parking areas. So overall, as a campus, we are overparked, really. But the proximity of parking is very important to the client, Orlando Health, the convenience factor. So they, like they did on the west side, they added more parking closer to the ER. Here, we're adding parking in front of the facility to accommodate more of the guests and doctors or something quick. So in terms of helping out the issue with parking, we have actually looked at this in many ways, actually talked to the staff that's actually using the parking out there, have taken counts, and noticed that the shift change was the big deal that we had to accommodate.
It is, yeah.
So that's what the design is for, is taking that in consideration.
right, so my question is, if you look at Orlando Health history, they're very good in terms of building parking garage. If we look at in the future, have you guys discussed maybe building a parking garage that will be in the middle of both building by bridging?
Actually, the goal is, right here is the back of house of, right, this is the back of house of the current hospital complex right here.
Okay.
This is the enhanced CEP site, the chillers and what have you.
Mhm.
The sanitary lift station's right over here for the master lift station right now. This block right here is scheduled for a parking garage. As we come online, this area is gonna be, this road right here, it's gonna come into the complex, turn over here, come around back to here. See what we're doing with the parking? There's one lane that doesn't look like it has any parking. What's it doing out there? Eventually, we'll cut that out and create a road to connect to the other roads. So,
I can sympathize with the staff that doesn't want to park at the end of that parking lot, because from experience with members of my family who are in that business, they're on their feet 13 hours a day, many cases.
right.
And so they probably don't feel like they want to walk all the way to the end of the parking lot. So if you can do something to make the parking closer in for the staff, I'm sure they would all appreciate that.
Right, so in overall, that area of the parking currently is not being used. It's what, the overparked spaces that we have on campus are actually located there. So having this facility, its proximity to it, allows us to have that fluff of extra parking when they do shift changes and what have you. That's the goal of the target for the parking
So
situation.
you're telling something's in the works. That's good to know.
Yeah, it's there, it's existing, but we are adding, actually, the parking that we need for the facility, we are actually adding it up front. But we know that there is an issue with shift changes and extra parking that is needed, not beyond the code requirement.
Right.
So that's what we're putting the staff right in that area that's secure parking.
Okay. Thank you for that. Mr. Rumor, is there any possibility of reevaluating the timing of these lights and signals to work better with the flow of traffic?
Oh, yes. So as the traffic counts are done, they kind of know, because we look at the traffic counts every year and the signalization. So,
Yeah.
It is important.
Mm.
If you go there for high blood pressure, you hate to
The
have it increase because you can't find a place to park or get out in the traffic, so.
Yeah, we have been trying to work quite a lot with the department, the DOT. We have struggled trying to get a signal on the north side. It's not warranted. We have gone through the process. So, yeah, it's a challenge.
I'm sure we thank you for all you do. It's appreciated. It's a difficult, because you're trying to meet several goals all at the same time, so.
Yes.
Hopefully our staff was cooperative. They
Oh,
usually are.
Orlando Health is a great client.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Any questions?
for the applicant? Mr. Nick?
Any questions?
Thank you.
Okay, you.
Mr. Rumor, anything else on the, that's it?
That's it.
Anything you want to add to that? If not, I'll look for, okay, close the public hearing at this point.
Chairman, I'd like to make a motion.
Look for a motion, yeah.
I make a motion that we approve the large-scale preliminary / final site plan, project LS-2017-008.
Second.
Okay, that's seconded. Would this all be one vote tonight for that?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'll do that with one
Yeah.
fell swoop. So we have a motion and a second. Any additional questions or comments or statements? Hearing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? say no. Hearing none, we pass this on to the commission. All right. Okay, I guess, Mr. Rumor, it's you again with the 429 overlay.
So I wanted to set this up to kind of go over we have some new members of the board to kind of go over kind of how our CRA target area overlay works.
Good idea.
And so they can kind of see the end result. So we have on our community redevelopment agency along 50, I told you we created 3 target areas, and we adopted an overlay on those specific properties. An overlay, which means series of requirements above and beyond the straight land development code and zoning requirements. Such things as building setbacks, maybe some prohibited uses, stuff like that. We went through this process in 2010, and presently you can go on the website and you find the target area and the different regulating plans. As I said, target area 1, target area 2, target area 3. This target areas are adopted in our land development code under a section called special overlays. So, for instance, to show you a developer, instead of having to look at the land development code and say, I want to do A, B, I want to do such and such project, but I need to exceed the heights, my setbacks aren't going to work, they typically do what's called a plan unit development. A plan unit development has requirements to go through the process, come to a board like this Planning and Zoning Commission, and there's some time and there's uncertainty until you get to the end of the PUD rezoning process. So you put an overlay in place, and what that does is it lets the development community know up front. They can come here and say, I'm looking at a property right here. Let me see, it's got some special requirements, and you can see there's data specifically for that area that allows a developer knows what they have going into the property without needing waivers and special permission and approval from the city commission. For instance, on target area 2, we had some street requirements, we have some layouts, and as you see, the city center West Orange is being developed, and the Arbor's Apartments based off these target areas. There's different street designs. So what we're doing here is we're creating another overlay area. This is not involving State Road 50. This is involving the 429 corridor. Specifically, we are creating a 429 overlay. Where this project came from was several years ago, Apopka, Winter Garden, and Ocoee got together. And got together in a tri-city partnership, put in money in this partnership between the 3 cities. We hired an economic development guru out of Texas, one of the top economic development guys. He studied the whole 429 corridor, Apopka, Winter Garden, and City of Ocoee, and said, you guys have a jewel in this 429. You need to focus on the 429. Apopka took a step back. They had change in city managers. They're a strong manager form of government. And they went and they went alone and looked at some areas and did what's called a sector plan. And out of that sector plan, now you have the hospital being built, the Florida Hospital in Apopka. That's part of that sector plan. So they kind of went alone. Winter Garden and Ocoee ended up doing a joint study together. We got an appropriation from the Florida legislature. Governor Scott didn't veto it, $100,000. We had $100,000. We studied the 429 corridor from Ocoee and Winter Gardens along the edge from West Road all the way down to 50. And in that study, it said, wow, this road really is important. You need to look at it as your front door, not your back door like we used to. We need to put our chips there, not on Highway 50 like we were. It also indicated a need that how the downtowns play an important role in the 429 because you can travel to Seminole County and I-4 from the 429. The downtowns play an integral role in getting those employment centers that we are seeking along the 429. They need lifestyle places. We know the properties up on the west side or there's subdivisions developing. Let's try to drive the type of development we want into the 429 corridor. Let's not just take what the existing land uses give us. Let's drive good employment centers. From that plan, we did a downtown master plan. And now we did, with the City of Winter Garden, we hired a consultant and did, let's look at joint criteria for developing along the 429. So we're not competing with each other. The same type of criteria, you can be on either side of the road in the City of Winter Garden, City of Ocoee. From the consultant's work and staff's work, we came up with 3 sort of target areas. The first is Plant Street character area. Now this takes a bulk of Winter Garden, goes from 9th all the way up to the 429. Winter Garden's growing their downtown to the east. And there's a plan, there's a vision plan, there's development requirements. They have 2 districts, the Gateway District, which we share with Winter Garden, same criteria, and then they have a district called the East Plant District. They've looked at some other districts along the way. These are the 2 that have shaken out. For the City of Ocoee, these are the properties we have. This is Franklin Street, Silver Star Road comes up there, and then you head south, and it takes that jog. So we've got a series of properties. The Ocoee Village that was in front of this commission not too long ago would be located right here. And so we have a vision plan for this area and a set of development requirements and a set of design principles, standards, architectural standards. So we're playing on an even field with our neighbor to the west as they are with us. The second area, and then you have the 3 different pattern books. It drives and lets them know what we're looking for. This lets the developer that's looking at buying property, the guys, Mr. Parrott that did the Ocoee Village, when he saw this, it made sense to him. When the park at 429 Light Industrial, which is going to be located in the next area, it's the business center. The park at 429 is located over here. When they saw the requirements that we were drafting, and that it was the same for Winter Garden as it was for us, they agreed to wrap the building architecturally all the way around instead of just along East Crown Point Road. They bought in. Knowing what the requirement is, not having to plead your case is a big step for developers. Takes a lot of time out and a lot of the uncertainty. The second area is the business center. This is PK2, just south is the Gateway Center. This is Ocoee-Apopka Road. So east of Ocoee-Apopka Road, I'm going to lose my mouse. There we go. This is the 429 and properties on the East Crown Point Road. We have visions. We have a set of standards to drive good development to the 429 corridor, which will help Ocoee's downtown, which will help Winter Garden's downtown, and their march to the east, the development of our downtown. It'll help provide jobs and services for people to move to the north side of our city, any part of the city. The third is the interchange, and this is the 429, this is West Road. This area is at an interchange. Now, the interchange on the other side is pretty much developed. You've got the public shopping center, the apartments, which I'll show you an aerial I got today on the progression of their development, charter school. There's not much pre-planning you can do on this side. So we took this side and said, how can we drive up values? I can tell you one thing. Since the charter school, the Innovation Montessori has started construction on Lakewood, which is just the next property down from Fuller's Cross on Lakewood People are looking at all the properties around there. It has now become, we've never had a pre-app on a property out there. The middle of the charter school goes in, they're running sewer up the road and water. It now opens up all those properties. Let's capture that. Let's make good development. Let's make good development opportunities and let the developer know, if you develop under this scenario, you can breeze right through the process. So that's what we're doing, is creating these 3 character areas. We're putting specific zoning, design, architectural requirements. There's wiggle room. It's not you've got to have 0 setback and you've got to have 8 different architectural styles. It's here we're looking for more of the Florida cracker style, more or less. On the interchange, yes.
Mike, is this a combination of residential with a little commercial
Yes,
center? up
this
there?
would be all residential. This would be commercial, with commercial mixed use going into density, going into detached single family, yes. It achieves a good density, higher than the 4 dwelling units an acre. It makes good access. Blocks structures always move people better and makes the properties more viable. Each one of these vision character areas, again, it's a 20-year plan. We're not going to buy the land. We're not going to require them to plat the streets 180 days after we adopt this plan. It's when we talk to Mr. Developer, this is what we're looking for. If you can meet this as close as possible, you'll have an easier time. You'll have to go through the site plan process, but you don't have to go through the rezoning and request waivers and justifications, no horse trading. Let's just get the development done. The book, as you've been able to thumb through, has standards. These are tried and true standards. As I said, you can't go over to Winter Garden and get a better deal, or they can't come over to Ocoee and get a better deal. We're on the same foothold. And so it's a book meant to be easy to use. If you look at the target area books, the hospital from the community redevelopment area, the hospital, we didn't put requirements, we just gave them a vision plan. Each one of these 3 target areas has code requirements, has design criteria, standards, types of development patterns we're looking for. There's going to be, types of landscaping to use. Drought tolerant, stuff that works good in an urban setting. The process for these overlays is it requires a reading of an ordinance. There'll be 2 public hearing readings of the ordinance because we are putting new zoning requirements on property owners. The first reading public hearing will be June 20th. The second will be July 18th because we don't have a July 4th commission meeting. We have talked to some, not all. I've talked to this property owner, owns both sides. They're happy with the plan. Obviously, a big purchaser of a property in this target area. I've talked to property owners here, property owner here. Some have received it well. And obviously with the, get to this target area, this character area, we've been talking to this property owner's bought in, so we're getting a good reception. We'll see through the advertising if anybody comes in, what kind of questions people have and how we can answer those. Winter Garden's going through the process already on this character area and has taken it to P&Z, and they've had some feedback more on some other areas down over here. They were looking at this as a special district, but I think they're going to not go ahead with that at this time. So,
Where exactly on the west side of 429 is the Ocoee Winter Garden city limits?
East Crown Point Road.
It's the East Crown Road?
East Crown Point
Okay.
Road, right
North,
here.
North and south, right?
Yes.
Okay.
It's
But
our city
It looks like
limits.
it's going to be pretty homogeneous from Franklin all the way to...
Right, yes, that's what we wanted. The 429 when it came through, because it was originally going to go east, a lot east, near Clark Road. 429 didn't set the boundaries, so we want it to be, as you said, very seamless. So as developments come through in the future, I'll be bringing you or reminding you of these overlay standards. These are the standards this project is meeting. It's a great project. With that, I'll entertain any questions.
Oh, okay.
You
There's a lot
do
there.
not act on the ordinance itself. It's just the different books and whatever thoughts you
Recommendation.
have, any questions.
Basically recommending we approve it. And so it looks like it's, except for the three different areas, the books are pretty much homogeneous as far as the landscaping, the
Yes.
types of streetscapes, I guess we call them.
Yes, so as the properties develop down the 429, now why don't we have some properties located in areas? Well, you've got Ocoee Crown Point Woods subdivision that will, no one's ever going to buy all those single-family lots on acre, you know. So it is not all contiguous, but there's a reason. You have development there that's not going to change.
Well, I guess I have one question.
Okay.
Maybe it'll spawn some other ones. I did notice on the third book where it does talk about a potential trail connection along North Fullest Cross Road and encouraging developers to pursue that. Now, is that going to go up and kind of continue along Clarkona Ocoee at some point to where it
Yes.
can merge into the other one over at Ingram?
Yes, yes.
And that
We
would-
have a trails master plan we're
Okay, so that's
touching
my
up
next
on,
question.
yes.
So we have this all on a master plan, the developer can see what's coming.
Exactly,
Okay.
yes.
Now, how does this, on the other two books, the lower section, I know we talked about that in the redo of Ocoee, there was some talk about trail coming down through the...
Right, so for
through
instance.
Oakland or something, on
Yes.
Key Street?
When this park at 429 came in, they're located on Palm Drive. The trail aspect, we required on Palm Drive them to put 8-foot sidewalks. That will one day lead to sidewalks to the east in Ocoee and then cross into Winter Garden. You got to get through an industrial part of but get to the West Orange Trail. So it's, you know, developers are used to asking for or seeing 6-foot sidewalks and residential 5-foot sidewalks, but they understand, they know up front we're going to be looking 8, 10, 11, 16-foot.
Yeah, a big
for
part of all
trails.
this is, we have the West Orange Trail, but a big part of all these areas around it is interconnection.
Yes,
If you can connect to a major trail, a regional trail, it becomes a very destination for many people to visit.
Yes.
So,
and so as these properties develop along Ocoee Apopka, we can get on that west side, we can get a trail. We can have them put in the sidewalk trail
yeah.
as they develop, then we just got to plug in the gaps.
Even 10 foot would not be too small.
Yes,
So,
right.
any other questions?
Mike, Ocoee Village on Plant Street, is it still, well, I think we annexed it.
It just went to city commission for the preliminary plan approval last commission meeting, so they're going to be submitting the final civil plans for permitting.
Okay.
They haven't submitted at this point, they just went to the commission last week.
Okay, that'll be a good start right
Yes.
there on Plant Street.
Yes,
It's east of 429 and
yeah.
Miss Reeves' property?
Yeah.
Yeah, we approved that.
And so, with the effort we're putting through, when that first building goes up, that'll show the citizens and the people in the development world that things are happening, and we're staying true to our word. Just as with our downtown master plan, we're getting new users in the buildings that are willing to be that first generation under a new downtown. We're getting new development in our downtown. So when you can put all these together, it all makes sense. And it's not just another planning study. By the way, let me put a plug. Our downtown master plan received an award from the Planning and Zoning Association. I went down on Friday, drove down and back, and received the award in Naples.
Oh, in Naples. Oh,
So we're hoping to,
wow.
it was, yes.
Should have took the train.
So,
I have
yes.
one question. I love everything that's going on with this plan, but maybe this is for thinking, what wayfinding are we gonna use to like identify the districts? Because that's part of the whole package as well.
Yes. There will be a wayfinding process under the downtown plan, which will come close to, it'll come to this point. Winter Garden has their existing wayfinding. Don't know if we want to match it. So I'm not going to say, so our downtown wayfinding will come over to this area. What we're talking about as a way to show that continuity is providing a structure. The Ocoee Village has agreed to show a location on his site, but maybe some sort of a tower, some sort of a structure on both sides of the road, so when you're coming to as an exit, it looks the same. It looks like you're in the same place and not competing. So there is not a plan for wayfinding on all three character areas. What the city will probably do is adopt the wayfinding from, we have some little wayfinding right now, signs you'll see. When the downtown plan will do a new wayfinding or probably approve upon it, and then probably adopt that citywide.
Okay.
I have questions.
Yes, sir.
My question is, what are you guys, what is the city's doing to reach out to businesses, especially for the business center? What are you guys doing marketing-wise to reach out to,
Yes.
not only to reach out to business in our state, in the state of Florida, to reach out across? Say, hey, we are going, come go with us. What are we doing in marketing-wise?
We are marketing several ways. Good question. Good question. The first way we market is we have a consultant called Retail Strategies. You can look them up. They are primarily a retail. They are a national out of Birmingham, Alabama, and they have a team of people, and they have clients like Ocoee, and they primarily market all of the empty existing commercial retail buildings, restaurants, not vacant land as much. We send them vacant land to say, hey, this is the plan we want. If we have a plan that was put together and shows a future building. So we have a national retail company that calls and tries to set up appointments with us. Second thing we've done is we have an economic development manager that is in a real estate that goes and seeks and talks to people to move their businesses to Ocoee. That is a local. Third thing we've done is we shared a booth this year with the developer City Center at the International Council of Shopping Centers
That was my next question.
in Las Vegas. We had a booth there in Las Vegas. Last year and this year, we have a booth at the ICSC Orlando Conference. We have a booth this year where we market, and we'll be setting up scheduling. We'll see who is attending and schedule meetings with them. You meet with whoever, even if it's Waffle House and you don't want them, because the guy that is the broker for Waffle House probably is the broker for somebody else. They broker a lot of stuff. We had a booth last year, and we'll have a booth this year at NAOP. That is the Light Industrial Flex Office Building Association at their show, their annual show. So that's how we attack it. We have a firm that's calling daily, talking to Safeway, talking to the grocers. We have a local guy. We attend the conferences or the trade shows. So we're really putting ourselves out there. Somebody in Las Vegas walking up on Ocoee, they start hearing Ocoee, and they see, well, Ocoee was in Vegas. They're real. I mean, we're going to Ocoee to attract businesses. The final thing we do is, we've put this in practice with the Park at 429, which is the Light Industrial Flex Office Center, the 600,000 square foot one. We are offering incentives to the developers, but also to the end users that's going to do the interior build out. If they meet the qualifications under the state's incentive program for providing jobs that are higher than the median salary level of Orange County, which is $48,000. So if they bring in a user in there, somebody takes 30,000 square feet and it's a digital media, and their jobs are over the median salary for Orange County, we will incentivize that user as well as the developer to help get that building going, to get them in here. So,
I think you have answered my question, especially when you mentioned ICSC conference. This is probably one of the major, all the shopping center you meet. Because I attend that conference with John Cosman. I don't know if you're familiar with John Cosman. He's a great guy. I attend.
Crossman?
Crossman, yeah.
we met with John Crossman in Las Vegas.
Yeah.
He, personally, he's a great guy, just
Very
wrote a book.
Great guy.
They represent the Winn-Dixie Shopping Center. Yes, Ocoee is on his radar, and so yes, and we'll be at our Orlando's. We'll have a booth there.
Very good. Thank you.
That's good, very good, well, all the information. Any other questions of Planner Rumor? Hearing none, I'll open the public hearing this time. Anybody like to speak on behalf of the public on this issue? Can she put a couple, she has a new card for a different...
In regards to this item, right?
Yeah, only regards to this item. Sure.
Okay. Give us your name and address again, please.
Kathleen Sue Manning Walter, 1819 Prairie Lake Boulevard, Ocoee. My question is, on 429, some of these where you're planning, how close is this to the Winter Garden Mall, the outside mall up there?
It's not anywhere near.
It's not anywhere near?
Yeah, it's a long walk,
And how close is it to the Florida Hospital, New Apopka, that they're building?
long walk.
The
Long
West
way?
Road this one here is the last, beyond this is you get past City of Ocoee. Winter Garden Hospital is a couple miles
A couple miles up
to the
there?
north.
Okay, I was curious about that,
Yeah.
because actually,
Is that hospital going to be near the intersection up there of 414 and...
yes, it
Yes.
is.
that
It's
where
right
it's-
there in the flip-flop right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's still a long walk.
And so what they did to create that is they did a sector plan and a whole land development code.
Yeah,
So
well,
instead of
that's-
amending our code, we're just kind of cheating. We're putting a new provision in there to say, you also have to meet this. We'll
Okay.
clean all that up in a couple of years.
My concern for this is because I lived out here since 1986, and when the West Oaks Mall was put in, now a lot of the businesses have gone out of business because of the crime right there. So that's another, I think it's wonderful what you're doing, and actually my attorney for my divorce is right down there at Plant Street, and I love how you guys have done it through, down there with the planning and things. That has been really good with the roundabouts and things like you do over in London. Those have been great things, so I wanted to say that part of your planning has been amazing. And I have been a nurse in all those areas. So 429 is going to get very overpopulated when you guys get your stuff out there.
Going to be busy. All right. Any more public issues, public hearing issues? Hearing none, don't have any more forms. So we'll close the public hearing at this time, bring it back to the commission for comments, questions.
Well, I'd like to make a comment. I think
Oh, sure.
that this is really great stuff we're doing right now. It's, we've been sitting here kind of stagnant for a number of years, and this is the first where you really see the possibility of some good things happening. So I would like to commend especially staff, attorney, for what they're doing.
Yeah, it's good to know we have all these people working to bring economic development into the area.
It's working so far. Wearing one hat and being at ICSC, telling them to come to Ocoee, and then now putting an overlay where it's like, well, Mr. User, that's going to bring in bad development, we don't really want you. But that's how Ocoee used to be with good development, so it'll still be some, I'm sure the city manager will get a call and the commissioner saying, Mike's trying to give me a hard time, but there's a process, we'll get through it.
But if we forward with this overlay, we have a plan that any developer can look at and somehow find a fit, I'm sure, for their project. Whether it be residential, small commercial, or office, health-related offices.
Yes,
That's what it seems like.
that's what we're trying to get,
Yeah.
yes.
I know that you are doing a whole lot in terms of travel to ICSC conference. I don't know what we're doing digital-wise, because we have a lot of young entrepreneur, may not travel, may not particular at these conferences? What are we doing digital? Maybe I can talk to you on the side and,
Oh, this is school.
Yeah, the answer is not enough. I talked to somebody, they're giving me a phone number. There's a group of young guys that have started a couple digital companies dealing with Disney that have done some things in Winter Garden, created, the I Love Winter Garden or type. So we are, our state of the city was done with drones and done more digital, but we see that we are failing there. Yes, so.
Okay, any other questions? If not, I'll call for a motion from anyone. Jim, you gonna do it?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
that we recommend to the city commission to approve the 429 overlay.
I'll second that.
We have a second. All right, any other questions, issues? Hearing none, we'll call the question. All those in favor of the 429 overlay ordinance, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none? The motion passes. Thank you. Okay, Mr. Rumor again, you have a little project status report of the...
I just want to give you this, received this today from the Arbors Apartments. That's the Renaissance Charter School on the side of the screen, of course. It's summertime. This is the road that the development built, which will, when the other side develops, they'll get a trail permit, cross the trail, and extend more development to the east there. You have the 429 bordering it. So this just kind of shows, you see these projects.
Could you point out the trail in there, please, for us?
This trail is right where the right here,
Okay, just so everybody knows.
West Orange Trail, yep. Right there. It receives 70,000 users a month on the West Orange Trail. So just wanted to show you the aerial. You see the plan in black and white on a flat horizontal surface. This is how this apartment is leased up. There's 3 buildings left. We are going to give a TCO to this building Friday, and it has 3/4 of the residents moving in on Saturday. And the final 2 buildings, they'll finish some work. But this you can see on these garages, these are solar cells.
Oh, that's what that is.
And they receive a daily report on how much energy they've saved, they've generated and saved. They also have a garden. Thank you. I was going to say farm, but that's 4 boxes. That's not a farm. They also have a community garden where they have University of Florida IFAS in Apopka coming down to teach them how to do farm to table.
Oh,
They have, this trail has exercise equipment around it, and then you also have the West Orange Trail itself.
right there.
So this
Easy
development
access.
has really
I envy
come. They are, as part of their development agreement, they are doing a traffic signal analysis. They were required to do that so many months after the school was, after the school's built. The school is about 545 students at the end of the school year of the 1,145. The site, they have to do another traffic analysis next school year, traffic signal analysis. But I just wanted to show you this site, how it's coming together.
Yeah.
And then I did an old one. This is older, but it was the newest one I could find. That is the City Center, West Orange project being developed there. This is Arbors Apartments.
Hard to recognize it.
We are punching through Main Street.
I see
You
that.
can see that under construction. There will be a left turn lane constructed at this point, and we will we're going to signalize the intersection ahead of time. It wasn't programmed, but we're going to get that done. So this development, the Arbors Apartments and the City Center, was a result of the work done with the overlays.
Yeah, that's the oasis of it.
Oasis, did I call it something else?
You said Arbor.
Arbors, okay, sorry.
Oasis. Yes.
Arbors was this one, this is the Arbors
Right,
Apartments.
right.
The,
Oasis,
yes, Oasis.
that's right there.
City Center West Orange is building this public road along here They're reconstructing this public road as part of the initial development. They're in the design, we're designing the rest of the road to go from this point to Blackwood. That's just a separate project. They're building 2 internal roads. They're going to do Richmond, and they're going to do another road over here. So they're running sewer. The infrastructure is going in for a large development, and the apartments are really close. They're finishing up some wall work and that. So that's all I have for aerials.
So will that be called Main Street till it intersects with Blackwood?
Yes, Main Street intersects with Blackwood at the curve.
On the turn there?
Yes. Main with an E.
With an E.
Lake Bennett has 2 N's and 1 T. So
Oh, okay.
it was probably a different lake when.
So are we going to name the bridge on 50 now, right there?
Right,
Bennett? Is that the
yes.
Lake Bennett Bridge
So,
or somebody?
yes. Otherwise, you can see a lot of activity. The Starbucks is built, is the building, the shell's built. Inside, next door, the Pizza Hut's going in. You can see the Popeyes going in. We have work being done at the mall for the Bed Bath & Beyond build-out, the Game Time build-out, the Bates Seafood opened, and the old Chevys.
It is open now.
Yeah, it
Yes.
is. It was in the paper.
We have exceeded my projections for single-family residential units by 100, and I just did a light guess of another 40 units before the end of the fiscal year. We've got a lot of single-family units coming out of the ground. We're looking, we have a lot, I said the city center's already approved, but we don't have the building permits not issued. Once the building permit's issued, we receive a lot of impact fees. With this park at 429, we have one of the buildings, large buildings in for review, Shell. They do the Shell building, and then each user comes in and does a build out. We have the doctor's offices at Citrus Medical, the facility on Moore Road in McGuire. We have 2 offices there, all doctor's offices. Things are looking good. And we'll have some developments in our downtown.
So the burning question of the hour is that section of land at the corner of Clark and 50 on the northwest
The
corner.
developer backed out.
I was afraid of that.
Now, it's still under, the original owner still has the contractual obligation for the Mattress One. So,
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion we adjourn.
If the planning is done of explaining staff items, are you finished?
Yes, sir.
Complete? Okay, he is complete, so we'll
Okay.
entertain that motion.
Second.
We got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Can I quickly leave?
Right.